A lot of people have this misconception that the pharmaceutical industry is altruistic and they're philanthropists and that they're, looking to heal the world. There couldn't be anything further from the truth. The pharmaceutical industry is, their vested interest is in making their stockholders money, because the pharmaceutical industry isn't in the business of health and healing. It's in the business of disease management and symptoms maintenance, because they knew that these things existed and they knew that there were people that were vulnerable that would be taking them, and they did not inform us. The onus is on them. People ask me all the time, oh, aren't you afraid the pharmaceutical industry is going to kill you? Hell no. I'm afraid they're going to kill you and you and you and everybody I know and everybody I love, and I'm still going to be sitting here screaming at the top of my lungs. That's what I'm afraid of. So whatever that anybody can do to add their voice to this choir, it's a moral obligation.
So was Gwen right? Had pharma really killed her niece? Had they killed my brother?
No, there is no benefit to the drugs. I'm not saying that there aren't some individuals who should monitor their cholesterol because of the risk factor, correct? There are other means of lowering cholesterol besides taking the toxic drugs that the statins are. This is a very ingenious marketing plan. What is one of the major side effects of cholesterol-lowering drugs? Do you happen to know? Impotence. Impotence is one of the things that's complained about most frequently for men that are on cholesterol drugs. Well, guess what the same manufacturer's #2 selling drug is that makes Lipitor?
Viagra.
Viagra, hey! Now we got a patient population that we can sell our next drug to.
Every time I take something, I always feel weird. And then somebody will say, a doctor will say, well, for the weirdness you're feeling by taking something, take something else. And the next thing you know, I'm taking 9 things.
Okay, you're going to wind up like Anna Nicole Smith.
To get a drug approved, a company only has to submit 2 positive studies to the FDA showing that their drugs work better than a placebo. Not better than another drug already on the market, just better than a fake pill. Then, to make things easier on pharma, they get to pick and choose which studies they submit. Meaning they could have 48 studies that say a drug is terrible and causes half the people who take it to grow tails.
Well, you did it again.
Gee, what a mess.
But as long as they produce 2 positive studies, the FDA approves the drugs and we get another bottle on our shelves.
If you are someone that they can be guaranteed that has a government job that you're going to get reimbursement, you're going to get put on one of these drugs, because that means a refill every month, and that is a compliant patient, and they're going to get more money in the till down the road. Those are the patients pharma loves. And if they can get your kids, wow, then they've got a lifelong customer.
Mom, I'm on an allergy medicine that won't make me drowsy. Children's Claritin Chewables?
My niece was, she was attending Indiana University. She was a pre-med student, and she was in a car accident. And so they started her on mood stabilizers and antipsychotics and antidepressants. And by the time it was over with, she was on 14 different drugs. She had to drop out of school. She wasn't able to work. She cold turkeyed off of her drugs trying to recuperate. And that is an absolute no-no. I mean, you never, ever, ever want to stop taking a psychiatric drug cold turkey, because you will go into an absolute tailspin. So out of desperation, she walked into her younger sister's room, took an angel-shaped oil lantern out of that room and poured the oil over herself, and she ignited it, and she burned herself alive. And once I had done my due diligence and my research on it, and I realized that the information had been there that these drugs caused suicidal ideation from the get-go, and that it had been covered up by the pharmaceutical industry and by the FDA, I was a drug pusher. I was just doing it legally and with the, being condoned by society. And when people would say, well, you sell drugs, and I would always say, oh, yes, ethical pharmaceuticals, as if.
I've never seen a commercial for OxyContin. I've never seen one for Vicodin. And
they don't need them. The drugs sell themselves.
So why do they advertise the other type of drugs?
Because they have to get the consumer to believe that they need them.
Hey, Pete. Yeah, it's me, big brother. Put the remote down and listen.
This intervention brought to you by Niaspan.
So you cut back on the cheeseburgers and stopped using your exercise bike as a coat rack. That's it? You're done? I don't think so.
If there was a panacea that came onto the market tomorrow, do you believe that they'd have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars in advertising on primetime TV for the rest of the world to know about it?
It would be word of mouth.
People would know about it in a heartbeat.
In 2013, Big Pharma spent close to $226 million on lobbying our government with an army of 1,445 lobbyists. Congress only has 535 members. So that means pharma spent upwards of $422,000 per congressman, making sure the U.S. government knew exactly what pharma wanted. That's a lot of influence. And in 1992, Congress passed the Prescription Drug User Fee Act, which allows pharma companies to pay a fast-track fee to the FDA of up to $350,000 per drug to speed up the approval process. Like the Fast Pass line at Disneyland, their drugs get bumped to the front of the line, and the result? More drugs hitting the market and pharma's profits exploding.
If success is measured by return on the dollar, the pharmaceutical industry made a killing.
Maybe Horseshoe was right. Maybe everybody is on the take.
So, in America we have, we say we have a war on drugs, right?
Yeah.
But we have...
War on drugs. No, man. No. Fuck, man. It's a war on money. It's who can get the most amount of money. You know what I mean? I made my money in a lot of wrong ways back in the day, too. You know what I mean? Everybody's on the take. Yeah, fuck yeah, man. I would be,
Yeah.
But why is nobody stopping it?
Why is nobody stopping
Like
a machine that
the
prints
government.
money?
Yeah, the government.
I don't want to answer that. You know the answer to that. Everybody who's watching this knows the answer to that. Why does big oil get government subsidies? Because they sponsor campaigns. Okay? Why does big pharma allowed to continue to make money? Because they're one of the most powerful lobbying interests in the world.